Welcome to episode 16, I believe, of Western Wilds. I think I'm comfortable in calling this season 2 because it feels like we left at quite a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
we had a little break, so yeah, let's call it season 2. I'm happy with this.
It's not going to affect the playlist at all.
Not even. I mean,
I did toy with doing seasons in some of the earlier stuff, and I have since removed the seasons and just bundled all of SKT.
Completely nominal.
The infamous single episode season 2 of Western
Yes.
This is just an OVA.
We're back to the Netflix hours of no cancel.
one season of the movie.
That or season 2 just skips ahead like a month or so and just ignores everything that's happened and continues.
We're just getting the anime right and we're playing everyone's children. Oh. Who would like to give us a recap?
Not just children's, also clones.
Yeah.
I can do that, sure.
Go nuts.
A journey lies ahead with many a task in store, personal projects set in progress, some completed, some more. A new creation waits, its intentions yet unknown. Between gods and demons, questions left unthrown. In search of ancient sites to repair what's lost, no answers come to light at any cost. The Lady Chambers beckons, danger in the air, her secrets sought by many, but answers are unclear. The great divide between civilization and the wild lurks near, but passage goes undisturbed, like a sleeping child. Thoughts of what lies beyond, tales untold, banks astray, studies abandoned, homes lost, all in disarray. A meeting with an adopted father, odd and so unique. Greater understanding gained of their pink-haired friend and physique. In Harlan, many paths, the first goal to get paid. A quiet moment in a graveyard, fear and doubts allayed. A stay of execution granted, 9 months to find. Lost souls in the desert, a quest that's not declined. At dawn, rested and hale, they make their way to an old home with a false death. They set their sights astray. The lady's chambers, a host of lies, a grandmother's bane. Revelations made, though unsatisfying, and danger now to reign. In a moment's anger, wings and magic are displayed, and the situation heads to danger as the truth is laid.
I'm not super tight. Have you ever considered narrating audiobooks?
I have actually at one point or another.
Yeah, nice. It was an eventful one last time, wasn't it? Because you started off in the Outlands, then we had question time for about 45 minutes, then you crossed into the stager, you went through the staging wall, which obviously you've all been through in character, but like as players know you've been through it before. Beauregard did some legal chicanery to get you into the staging and into Harlan. You met Nicodemus, who is Ignatia's father, Misty's legal guardian, and a sober and sensible gentleman of good renown, and not someone with a quarter-mile exclusion zone around his house. You ended up staying, I believe, at what Augustine calls his house, but is basically a mostly furnished Airbnb. Lillian and Augustine, you went to the graveyards to pay your respects at Grace's grave. The epitaph on the grave, that's such a lovely touch. Yeah. Bond beyond price, beyond compare, something like that.
Incomparable value.
Incomparable value, yes. I also, what I love most about that is that it still explicitly places a value rather. Then Misty went and spoke to Dr. Julius at the university. You got your panic die upgraded to a D6 or D8, I think.
D6.
Yeah. And Will, you walked past Will's house, which is now for sale, and there's some kind of ongoing legal actions of some kind. Lillian mostly just seethed and tried to work out who'd lied to her. Yep. Which was super in character. I loved it. Then you went to that's fine, Ryan. Then you went, I believe, to the Chambers house.
Yeah.
Is there anything in between? I
I
think
think we might have walked past or near you.
You
Walked past my
walked
place,
yours
found
to
out that it was on for sale,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that there weren't people watching it, and we figured out that it was because they were probably out searching the wasteland for this suspicious-looking person.
Yes, so there's no reason to think that you would possibly do anything as suicidal as come back to the city.
Yeah,
But
that would be really stupid.
and
Who would do that?
and in fact, for the old version of you, that would be absolutely true because they think you're just a guy, an old lame dude.
Whereas I'm slowly turning into a determinator.
Yeah, nice.
It's a very determined Terminator.
And then you went and spoke to the guards at the gate in their little shade boxes and asked for a meeting. You met the Major Domo and through a set of sentences convinced them to let you have a meeting with the Lady Chambers. Mm-hmm. Taken up to Lady Chambers' office, and then Misty was like, when your husband died, lol. I was super there, so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is about where we left off.
There's one little bit
Except for just a little tiny postscript, which was, is it Form of Dread or whatever it's called? No, that's the Fallen Asimar.
Yeah, started. The wings came out, the black eyes, and the.
And you cast.
I cast a suggestion
on the Major Domo to lie down.
to basically just not interfere. Yeah.
Yeah. Suffice it to say, they both passed, and certainly you're not sure whether they picked up on the suggestion spell on the Major Domo. They've certainly picked up on the giant skeletal wings and eyes bleeding oil, that kind of thing.
That's got the black feathered wings.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, black feather wings. And that, unfortunately, gentlemen, is where we pick up.
Okay, so I am going to stride forward to.
Could I borrow dice, please, from someone?
There is a box.
Cheers, buddy.
Is that permanently?
No, just for Eurigi. Thank you. That works.
Could one make the argument that as that was happening, Augustine was just slinking further and further back into the background,
into the
shadow,
roll me a stealth check. Yeah, this isn't a stealth check to hide per se, because you're in like a 20. You're in a room like not much bigger than this.
Yeah.
So there's no hiding, but
unobtrusive.
Yeah.
Certainly
unnoticed
to become
the characters here.
That'll be a 22.
Cool.
Like a rave.
So what I'm going to ask for here is that's fine because you can do that as a bonus action. I'm going to ask for a non-combat initiative for now. So you're going to be it's going to be the amount of time you will have to do shit is going to be limited.
That's fair.
Could you also pass me a pencil, please? Things I should have remembered to do earlier.
Would this allow us to use, if we've got the thingy dice available for completing a goal, we can use that to adjust our place in the initiative order, right?
Yeah, we can.
If you have a destiny point, yes, you
point,
absolutely
that's right.
can.
We can spend it to re-roll it, or just choose where we can choose where
I
we
believe
go,
you
right?
get to choose where you go in initiative. And if two people spend a destiny point, you can either choose between yourselves or it'll be like dex mods.
I might spend mine to go first.
That's fair because I just rolled a natural 20 on initiative, so.
Nice.
Do I have to decide that I'm doing that before I roll?
Yes.
Because I'm going to choose to spend it instead of rolling.
Yep. And you want to go?
I want to go first.
Cool.
Because I need to calm Lily down.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair.
And also stop us from getting fucked.
One of them rolled very well and one of them rolled very poorly.
I got 21, by the way. Natural 20.
There's Brad.
Misty, Augustine?
11.
15 and 11. Ooh. Just where I've left a space in your initiative as well. That's nice. So 15, 11.
Correct.
I don't have diamonds for that.
Oh, Revivify.
Yeah. I was like, why did I prepare Revivify of all things? I was like,
Cool. In that case, yeah, Will. So Augustine sort of is like.
Just for
you
shit
see
and
that-
giggles, I'm going to see what I would have rolled.
Go for it.
Oh, that would have been a 17.
Well, you definitely wouldn't have been going first.
No.
But yeah, like, what would you, what are you, what is, so we're not like, what you're going to do. What's going through Will's mind? What kind of state of mind? What is your immediate thought here?
Immediate thought is... so, like, I cast a spell on the Majordomo and then immediately turned away, not even looking to see if it went off.
Yeah.
If it was successful. I'm literally just thinking, de-escalate.
Yeah.
De-escalate. I need to calm Lily down and honestly give her a little bit of truth. Not Lily, give the Lady Chambers a little bit of truth.
So the watchword of the day is de-escalation.
De-escalation.
Cool. How would you like to go about that?
So I'm going to step up to Lily, place a calming, mortal hand on her shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and I will say, in my actual real voice, well, real voice,
Yeah.
Lily, this will not help your grandchildren. Please, calm yourself.
What
Do not
does
take it out on these fine people.
what does the Lady Chambers look like? When the wings and the black eyes came out, what was her reaction?
She got a 27 on her wisdom save against the fear.
Yeah. So she's not supernaturally afraid.
She's not supernaturally afraid. That's exactly what I was going for. So she passed the wisdom save though, so she's not under the frightened condition. But that is still flapping for those who are flappable.
Yeah.
Couldn't give a shit.
Okay. Interesting.
And you can see her hand is on like one arm of this like carved like blackwood chair. It very carefully sets the glass of red down on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And places the other one. Sort of hands on the arms of the chair, ready to get up if she needs to get up.
Yeah.
And is looking very pointedly at you.
Okay.
It is your go next. So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So that is that the action you want to try and?
Yeah, and I'm gonna look to the lady as if I'm about to say more, but that's probably all I can do on my
That's
turn.
perfectly fine. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll end that turn with taking a breath to then start addressing her.
Can I turn that off? I don't know if I can turn that off.
That would be so awkward.
I think it's just on until a minute wears
that
off.
seems wrong. Like,
Hold on.
in any case, even if the text says otherwise, I think you can spend
I have
the
an
equivalent action or bonus, whatever it uses to.
I
use
have
it.
an idea of like what would happen if that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. Yeah. Oh, I can end it as a bonus action if I
There
so
you go.
choose.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think instead of that, what ends up happening is because she's still so full of like just like anger and and there's a lot of like conflicting emotions in there. The wings just kind of like, rather than being full spread out, they just kind of like fold inwards on her back, and she just kind of like collapses. There's like a desk that she's sitting behind, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she just collapses down and just looks up with tears in her eyes and goes, I just want to find my grandchildren. I know you have children. I've lost mine. I've lost my husband. I don't have anyone else. Please.
Roll insight. I know you like it when I ask you to roll insight.
Because it's going to be dumb numbers, yeah.
Madam 31 last time.
So that's 17 on the die. Which is going to be 28.
Can I also get you to roll persuasion?
Sure. I'm going to use my session inspiration.
That's very.
That is a bouncy dice.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
Yeah. 27.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So combine those two together.
Yeah.
The insight gets you like the results of your persuasion, effectively.
Right.
So
She's full in tears. as
there
well.
was imminent violence on her face for a few seconds. Like, you think that she was either going to do or have done to at least one of you something spectacularly nasty. With that, was it 28 on the insight?
Yeah, 28 on the insight.
She has no investment or interest in giving you what you want. And she's probably not going to. There is... With a 27, that's a gold star persuasion check as well. Like... You sense a very cold heart within this person. But, having said that, you know... she is, in mourning for her husband. You can see that she does feel like... She certainly feels love very intensely. But... so she's not a... I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. Those are some good rolls, and that's... Yeah. Like, just the tiniest crack appearing in the dam, which is very sort of quickly sealed up. But you sort of reached her enough that, whereas it was full, like, 5th gear violence, it's now just simmered back down to, like, contempt. And you can see that the Major Domo, who is up next, looks to her for what she wants to happen. And... Augustine, are you gonna do anything in this instant?
If my intent was to hold back until I knew
Cool.
violence was the outcome.
Cool. Misty, are you gonna do anything?
She's learnt enough that sometimes
Less is more.
when the grown-ups are angry, just be quiet for now. It's sort of head down.
Yeah.
Like,
So then it's Lady Chambers who got a natural 1 on this initiative. Like where she's like sat sort of somewhat forward, almost
Predator.
like pouncing.
Yeah.
Just the hands relax a little bit, and she sits back in the chair. I'm afraid I am unable to help you. I've asked you to leave. I suggest you do so before I call the constabulary.
At which point I pull out the Watchmaster badge and put it down on her desk.
It's like I'm already here.
Wow.
And I will say, I'm going to drop the illusion.
Yeah.
So she's looking at me as I am, and I place the badge there. I would like to apologise for the subterfuge we used to get in here. We were at the front. We escorted Carter Garland's body back to Tombstone. Was it Tombstone?
Fort Morgan.
Back to Fort Morgan from the front. Whereupon he came back to life. We escorted an artifact back to the city as well, which we believe was used in whatever happened at the front. We came here because a prophecy told us to seek out the ladies' chambers at the landing grounds. I
Could
love
I
this city.
get just a general insight check?
26.
Buddy.
That one! 5!
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep talking.
29.
Yeah, that's usual. Misty?
7.
Okay. By the end of that sentence you just said, she was a lot crosser than at the beginning. And it hasn't gone back to the imminent violence stage, but is certainly more hostile.
Okay, so I'm continuing. I believe I know a little of what you're going through. My wife was in the military. She died protecting this city from the Coyotl. I want to honour her memory, and I want to save this city. And I believe that we have been directed here in order to do just that. I know you're grieving, and I apologise for intruding upon that. We would not if time was not of the essence.
Yeah.
Can I insight specifically at the point where William goes, I know you're grieving? Is she actually grieving?
Oh, yeah, most certainly. Yeah, go for that. Yeah.
I rolled a natural 1, so I'm
19.
completely ignoring the glare that you're giving me.
Powerfully.
Okay.
Whatever you hope to gain by being here, you will not find it. And she picks up the Watchmaster's badge and
Is
just this. What's the Watchmaster's badge made of?
probably copper.
Copper, yeah. She crushes it in one hand and drops it back on the desk. And the Major Domo sees her do that and steps over. So he's sort of standing about there, steps over and just lays her hand like, easy, on the shoulder. And she looks at him like he has done some unspeakable kind of faux pas in, laying hands. You find yourself politically outmatched, Watchmaster. I do not answer to the Watchmaster's office.
I was not here asking you to do so. I was here asking you to help us, help the people of this city.
Get out of my house. Get out of my house!
Oh yeah, no. I was nodding and then turned around.
Yeah. I'm just an actor.
I think Lily just at that point just gets up and the wings to now like faded and everything, and I think she says one thing before she leaves. She says, "You've lost your husband, dear, and I am sorry for that. As a cleric of the grave, I hope his passing was gentle."
I've already walked out at this point. Just...
Good night.
I think we're all on our way out, as Lily says that.
Cool.
Does the Major Domo escort us out?
No.
So he just stays with her?
He opens the door, gestures to two of the, like the brown boiled leather armor clad guards, and gestures for you to go. And like you can just feel like the radiating, seething energy coming off of her. And he closes the door behind you. He doesn't look at you. He doesn't really super care what you think. Yes, you can. Hold that thought, pin in that, circle back.
I pick up, before we leave, I pick up my crumpled
Yeah.
Yeah. I need that.
Yeah. Boy howdy. He looks like he's not really concerned with you. He does look like he's
concerned with his job at the moment.
Yeah, he looks like someone who's just like royally pissed off a teacher accidentally get bollocked. As you are you guys heading out? Oh yes.
I have a question that I'd like to stack up. I don't know how that relates to things. Where, as I'm leaving, and so she yells, "I leave." Is anyone coming running? Because she would have yelled, or are the guards virtually?
That's an excellent question. The guards, as you look outside, they have not even flinched from their post. They are very sort of stiffly standing there. They don't look like they've reacted at all. But the moment you're already out the door when they are summoned by the Major Domo, and the moment, like even before, almost before the gesture goes out, they are turned and walking towards you.
Yeah. Okay.
On our way out, once we're out of that room and we're going through like the main hallway or whatever, the portraits.
Yeah.
Does the Lady Chambers look like she is the same age that she is now, despite the painting being decades old?
Great question. So there is a painting in here of the general chambers that you saw on the way in. Could I get a perception check from everybody for a couple of things as you're being sort of escorted out?
Not 20.
Oof.
Buddy, you gotta stop.
Total of 17.
It's flashing and everything.
Oh yeah, rub salt in the wound, won't you?
20 not natural.
20 not natural. 20.
We're doing an actual number. 25.
Yeah, alright.
I've got you back. 7.
My man!
17, a
17.
regular number.
A regular number. A regular good number. Okay, there are a couple of things you notice on the way out. There are portraits of various people. The portraits all look fairly new, as if they have been done maybe in the last 10 years. Obviously, the settling of Harlan was about 17 years ago. This mansion this is old money, but nouveau riche architecture, if that makes sense. Like, the mansion's probably only about 10 years old. The portraits look like they were painted about the same time. You notice something with your natural 20. I'm going to pin it and circle back to that, because you had another thing.
I've got 2.
I wanted to ask specifically,
Yeah.
are there portraits of her daughters?
That's something I'm going to tell you about.
Oh, okay.
Because, no. But you do see the daughters have come out of their rooms.
Right.
On the other... So you're coming along this corridor. So it's like 2 wings of the house, main stairs down that way.
Yeah.
So you're coming along this way, and you can see 2 young women, sort of, one maybe about 18, one maybe about 15. You can see...
Do they bear enough... I'm trying to ask in a roundabout way, but are they her daughters? Like, can I tell that? Or have a good enough
They
guess?
both have enough of a resemblance that they could be.
Okay.
One of them, notably, well, the older one has a very similar cast to her features, not of blood and lineage, but of sort of emotion as the Lady Chambers, of like pointed and like beautiful and kind of cruel. The other one looks, firstly, is a child, like a sort of very subtle gold tinge to the skin. And looks anxious and worried and not at all. Yeah, has a different vibe. Is what I'm saying.
Does she look? Does the child one look like? Oh, what was his name?
Carter Garland?
Yeah. Does she look like Carter Garland?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. No.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to roll a D100, and if it's 100, then I'm going to say yeah, because that's a great question. And that would have been a much better story than the one I've written, buddy. No, I'm afraid not. Oh, that would have been so narratively satisfying.
Joe,
Yeah.
when that happens in future, don't
Just say yes.
Don't lament, just say yes.
Yes. No, there's absolutely no reason why the answer should be yes, but the answer is in fact no.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see, yeah, they both, and the elder one has sort of a hand on the younger one's shoulder, like a very firm hand on the other one's shoulder. Back to you for 2 things. Firstly, do you want the answer to that question in secret?
Yes.
Yes?
Always.
Alright.
So it wouldn't be juicier to give it to us completely out of context.
I mean, the answer would, in theory...
The answer would give us
away
context. Yeah, okay.
No, fuck it. Public.
Public?
Yeah.
Yes, most. There is a large amount of immortal technology in one of the rooms of this house, within maybe 30, 40 feet.
Multiple or a single...
You're getting like all the if you're like spatially locating the pings, they're all sort of in one direction.
Okay.
Sort of in the other wing of the house. The other wing of the house and down.
Okay.
How many feet away?
Yes.
56.
Oh. Is that... It's 30, isn't it?
60.
Is it 60?
You are about to fuck me, and I'm going to let it happen.
Okay, so first
Turn
question.
something randomly
Does
on.
Leviathan know anything about what's potentially got a network access point within range?
No. And I can tell you specifically why. Because it is not part of her site network.
Ooh.
So, I'm going to send you a specific message.
Out of character, I will give everyone the chance to do one thing before I commit to this course of action.
Actually, that is secret. Oh god.
What? Sorry, out of character.
Out of character, I'm letting you know.
Take those then.
That's in about 6 seconds.
In about 6 seconds, Will's about to do something. If you've got any more questions for Joe before this happens, now's the time to ask.
I guess can I get my perception pin?
Yes, the 20. You're walking along and you can see portraits of a bunch of people. You see one thing all of them have in common is you saw it on Lady Chambers' hand and you thought it was like an engagement ring or a wedding ring or something, but like this big sort of faceted red gem on a gold band. But actually, almost all of the people in the portraits are wearing them. You don't know if that's like it's an heirloom that's been passed down and these are like the ancestors. But you see that General Chambers is also wearing one in his portrait. So, assuming they weren't sharing, there was at least 2 of these individual rings.
Okay.
So the question I want to ask, out of character, before Ryan does whatever he's about, how close are we to the exit?
25 feet.
Not 6 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's within 6.
25 feet is within 6 seconds.
But
That
my
is definitely
concern
within
is there's a shit ton of guards outside as well. Yeah.
Wait for Joe to finish typing. What he types could completely change what we're allowed to do.
I think that's the right number, but like, assuming that's the right number for Leviathan.
These two guards who are escorting us, they have like pikes or something similar.
Halberds. Let's say halberd. I like halberds. Halberds don't get used enough.
But they're not like pointing them at our backs or anything like that.
No.
They're just kind of like walking alongside us. Okay.
Firmly escorting.
But I also don't think they're fully human, so...
Oh, good. That's a concerning thought.
I mean, the big vibe I'm getting is vampires. I feel like we walked into a vampire's nest. Even if she's not actually a vampire, it feels thematically vampiric. Like she is the leader in charge of all of this, and these are all
I am
her
a dramatic
Renholds.
bitch.
And all these guards are all vampires, or whatever his name was.
All what, sorry?
Renhold.
Fair enough.
Can I turn to the 2 guards who are escorting
Yeah.
us and say, I know, dearie, that she said to escort us out, but do you mind if I give the 2 children a blessing before we go? Protection against death.
They don't seem keen on that idea.
Do you have Eyes of the Grey though?
I can turn it on.
You wanna?
Yeah.
Could you read me the text of Ice of the Grave, please?
Oh, shit. Hold on.
No, actually, you know what? Allow me.
It's probably quicker.
Yeah. I have it fucking bookmarked because of you. Okay. As an action, you can open your awarenesses to magically detect undead. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any undead within 60 feet of you that isn't behind total cover, that isn't protected from divination magic. It says doesn't tell you anything about creatures' capabilities or identity. You can use the feature number of times equal to wisdom modifier minimum once. Long rest. How many can you see? At least these 2.
2 behind me.
The 2 behind you, there's, I would say, conservatively half a dozen more of the leather-clad guards that you can see. All of them are undead.
Yeah. I mean, you made such a meal out of how still they were standing.
I'm a dramatic bitch, I told you!
The question, though, the two young ones.
They do not detect as undead.
That's good.
Not yet. That's out of character.
They gotta get old enough first, because you don't want child vampires. That's very bad.
Genuine question, why is that very bad?
Just as child vampires are never good in any media ever.
People just roundly agree that it was a bad time.
Yeah, they're just icky.
So, do vampires exist in this setting then?
Oh, yeah, you want
that like Misty would be aware
For
of.
sure. Yeah.
So I don't know what type these two are behind me are. They're just undead.
They are undead. Like, vampires do exist, but this ability doesn't tell you, even if these guys were vampires, it wouldn't tell you if they were.
Because there are other types of undead. Like
Eyes of the Grave just tells you if they are undead.
Yeah, and I'm
They
saying,
could be zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying because we've already had other types of undead, like the creature at the town where everyone started to die.
At Slumbering Hollow.
Slumbering
Totally not Sleepy Hollow, yeah.
Yeah.
Still annoyed about that.
Legally distinct Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, I have secret messages.
Yeah, so I think...
No.
Yeah. Once.
I think we're past that.
Yeah.
but
I think... Why are they undead? Because Lily has to do something about these now. There's so
Not yet,
many of them.
Granny.
Like, yeah, you see Lily, like, her eyes kind of go, like, slightly silvery for a second, and then she just tenses.
Hold on, I need to know if I
Is the
actually
major
pick
diver
up on
following us
that.
out?
No, he was staying.
no,
in
he
that
was
room with the
he
lady.
was
Just guards.
crucially in the yes.
Just the undead
these-
guys and the two children.
How hidden would that have been? Because I've got a 16 on inside.
Oh, no, not that hidden.
Not 16 hidden.
Not 16 hidden.
Can I try to grab your hand
Okay.
and say, Granny, can I have a cookie, please? And I'm continuing to walk out to the door.
Yep. I think she lets you...
Yeah.
Cool. You.
Meanwhile, I'm showing, well, hey, look at all these things.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until we get to 59 feet away.
That's like 3 steps, my man. Yeah.
I'll wait 3 steps then, Joseph.
Okay.
Because I'm also a dramatic bitch.
Are you gonna? Someone's casting on off. I presume that's where this was going. Yeah. I mean,
You hadn't figured that out.
there
right?
is no. There is no. It's not like the place takes off or blows up.
That's good.
I
You
kind of
sense that remotely you have switched something on. This is a really important role for you guys. Okay.
Can we spend destiny points to make that roll better for us?
If you would like to spend a destiny point to have me re-roll this, you can.
Don't know. I don't know the
You can give
context.
this roll with advantage, basically.
Okay.
You can give me advantage on this roll I've just made.
I will.
Can you answer the question? Is it bad for just us or bad for everyone?
I didn't say bad. I said important.
Yeah.
Important.
I would like to spend a destiny point to make that roll with advantage, even though I don't know what it is, but it sounds important.
So, this was a luck die for you.
Okay.
Oh, God.
The first one I rolled was a natural 1. The second one I rolled was an 18.
That's better.
Okay.
Well, that is interesting, William. There is a teleportation device somewhere within this facility.
Just for
I need
context.
to just a hot second. I need to check my notes because the dice have truly taken me to Venice on a romantic holiday, laid me down upon the beautiful satin sheets, got some massage oil, put on some Michael Bublé, and fucked me today.
Whilst you're figuring that out, I'm getting another drink because I'm thirsty.
And just for clarification, what Leviathan said, only you can hear that,
Yes.
right? Okay.
I mean, you guys got earpieces. She could say it to you as well if she wanted.
I don't think she
No.
will.
But I think in this particular
I
instance...
think in this direct instance, you would be saying it to Will first, yeah. Well, that is interesting, William.
Given that I'm actively looking for those devices, would my device react to it being turned on? If I'm looking at the ping of these devices,
you would pick up, you know, like when you open your Wi-Fi menu and you can see that there's a nearby, or like Bluetooth, you can see there's a nearby device, and it's called like Lady Chambers' iPhone, that kind of thing. Yeah, like
teleporter _guest.
I mean, kinda. for a run together.
Oh my god.
This could have gone so different. I was looking forward to killing one of you. It was a whole thing.
I mean, there's still time.
There is still
There
time,
is.
and if it makes you feel any better, the cat stole my seat when I got up.
It does make me feel better.
We've not left. We've only gone one room across so far.
This is like slowed down in time as like all the stuff happens at once.
There is a stable teleportation tunnel here to Immortal Site 5. I haven't seen my sister in some time.
Is Leviathan taking over?
No.
Okay. Internally, I'm going to say, then we'll need to come back here.
Most
But
certainly.
maybe-
But I fear that if we continue to remain in this place, Lily will do something unadvisable.
I completely agree. We need to get her out of here, and also all of ourselves with our hides intact, and then make a plan.
Yes.
Sorry, who will do something unadvisable?
Sorry?
I missed the bit.
Lillian will do
Lillian
something
will-
inadvisable. Yeah. And there's, as I said, there's no like alarm bells, there's no like klaxon sounding, or the fire sprinklers aren't coming on as this is activated. And you press that and you get that message from Leviathan, and you see like it's not like named teleport a guest,
Yeah.
but you see that something big has turned on.
Can
at
I
least
turn
with
it back
the-
off again real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you walk back out into the sunshine, and you can see that the guards, sort of these big, thick, heavy leather cowls over their faces, walking you out to the gate. And
Do these two guards
Disguise back
speak at
on.
all?
no, they spoke to you briefly.
The gate guard spoke
Okay.
to
The
us.
gate guards spoke to you. Yeah. So they basically deliver you to the gate guards, and the gate guards look pretty much the same. Like they are of a similar, one might say, stat block. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just so my disguise is back up when we're leaving.
Can vampires be out in sunlight?
Who here would like to roll me a religion check to find out about
I think
How's
Lily
it-
is probably thinking, what are these? What could they be?
You could make me a religion check with advantage.
18.
In fact, you can make a religion check and you can use wisdom instead of it.
Ooh.
Because clerics using religion off in is bullshit. Sorry, what was that?
18.
18?
23.
23?
My first
16.
good roll.
16?
That would be wisdom 24.
24, okay.
18.
So yeah. So that, hang on, I'm just going to write those down. So it was 16 for Misty. No, 16,
No, 16 for Will.
16 for Will. Misty got 23.
Correct.
Lillian got 24.
18.
Lillian got 18. So you and you, that was an inconvenient way of doing that.
Cooler.
Thank you. Yeah, like I don't think Lily shared with you that these guys are specifically.
No,
they
she
don't have the
hasn't.
information from Eyes of the Grave.
No, but I was
But
already
you
thinking.
you figure something is up with these guys. Like, they're not acting like people. Will, you have an internal suspicion that there might be like something. Yeah, like undead or like mind controlling it, because that's a thing that people can do. It's not like an undead trait, but there's just something that's not sitting right with you. You're 23. You think back again. I do this a lot with Misty, but I do like it as a storytelling device. You think back to one of your lectures.
She took a lot of strange classes because she was bored.
Esoterica, yeah.
If it was about vampires, I was paying attention.
It was about vampires are cool, right?
Yeah.
Vampires are cool. There are two types of vampires. This is the scientific sort of. There are progressive and degenerative vampires. Degenerative vampires, they
for the
they
Republicans.
start very strong, and if they don't drink blood, they A, rot, and B, get weaker. Progressive,
That's degenerative, you said?
so
No, so
That's-
progressive?
yeah, so progressive and degenerative. Degenerative start strong and
weaken
get
without blood.
weaker without blood and will start to rot without blood. Progressive vampires start the same as anybody else. The longer they go without blood,
Yep.
the more powerful they get.
Oh, okay.
And the thirstier and more uncontrolled and more unpredictable they get.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. So you remember this. I think on that religion, something is not sitting right. You know, she was drinking a glass of red, and that might not have been wine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know that vampires can, they hold thrall, which is a thing where a vampire will create other vampires, and that vampire has control over everything downstream.
Okay.
So, like, the grandfather vampire would control both its sires, its sired and all the sired below them. So it's a big old pyramid scheme. Our grave cleric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have one?
Yeah, no,
one
please.
question? Sorry. So bonding between vampires. So presumably vampires will choose mates,
Yeah.
and presumably that bond would be even stronger than, like, would be as passionate as their strength, theoretically.
For sure. And those relationships will last a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You know the specific history of the creation of vampires in this world.
Mm-hmm.
N,000 years ago. This was after the War of Worship.
Yep.
Which explains why Leviathan doesn't really know what a vampire is.
Yep.
A demon of corruption made a deal with someone who really wanted to stay alive. And they were transformed into the first vampire. The first vampire was a human person who lived and travelled several thousand years ago. The vampirism makes you hunger for the blood and life essence of your own kind. It is not the blood specifically that sustains you, it is the act of profaning your own self that actually sustains and feeds a vampire.
Right.
You know that vampires can create blooded vampires, or they can create vampire spawn. Vampire spawn are exactly as under the control of the sire as a regular vampire, but vampire spawn are weaker. They don't fully transform into a. That's such a good question. Oh, you're not gonna like the answer either. A vampire thrall doesn't become a full-blooded vampire until they have drunk human blood.
Right.
And only a vampire, and a thrall wouldn't drink human blood until it was instructed to by its sire. That makes sense?
But so they have no free will until that point when they drink human blood, and then they gain.
And at that point, they gain some free will.
Yeah.
Like if you have sire vampire and sired blooded vampire, and so you have one vampire creates a vampire spawn and a blooded vampire.
Yep.
There will be total and absolute domination over the thrall.
Yep.
If this sire vampire really concentrated, it could basically enforce a dominate person on the sired vampire.
Right. So cases of diablerie, which is vampire killing,
Thank you, yes.
of it, is rare, but not unheard of. It's possible.
Diablerie being, sorry.
Like a vampire the sired vampire killing its sire.
It would be exceedingly rare, and it would most certainly have to be a surprise attack.
Yeah, they require incredible machinations. And
You also know that if a sire vampire is killed, its sires are completely freed from the last orders that it was given, basically. It would be like, it's not like the vampire has to find out that its sire is dead. The magical connection is severed.
So so if she was the sire of General Chamber, if General Chambers was her sire, then she knew immediately when he died.
Precisely.
Fuck. Okay.
Yes, it almost certainly would have.
Hey.
And you're not really sure how you would go about deleting that now.
He did it, not me.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it. Yeah. incognito mode. My question is,
Yes.
what does it take to kill a vampire?
A lot. So, vampire weaknesses. Generally. The sun.
Yep.
Will do it. They cannot cross running water, although it doesn't harm them.
Okay.
It's more of a sort of force field kind of dealy.
Yep.
Does this count as running water?
Yeah.
How the hell did she get there?
It's a great question, isn't it? Stake to the heart would paralyze.
Transportation circle.
Stake to the heart would paralyze them, but wouldn't kill them. Beheading, good old-fashioned beheading, would do it.
Putting a slice of lemon in the mouth, beheading, and then burying her at some crossroads.
No, it's lemon in the mouth, and then salt up the nose, and then tequila in the eyes.
What about exposure to massive magical energies?
Oh, like, you drop a nuke on a vampire, the vampire's not living through that. Yeah, like,
Atomise them,
yeah.
Yeah.
disintegrate them.
That
They're
would
going to come
still
back from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What about fire?
I'm going to read you a poem. It's one of my favourite poems.
Like one potential in some mediums, the reason that sunlight is so detrimental to a vampire is because the sunlight literally sets them on fire.
Yeah. You're not sure. You've never seen a vampire. Lillian, a little bit of wisdom coming from somewhere deep in your brain of the old lady, just sort of feeding this through. When the dead walk, seek waters run, for this the dead will always shun. Swift rivers best, or broadest lake, toward the dead and haven make. If water fails thee, fire's thy friend. If neither guards, 'twill be thy end.
So the thing is, we're kind of like leaving outside the gates. I think Lily says, we need to go back to that graveyard. And like pointedly at Augustine, I need to go get some friends.
Cool.
Oh, call in the cavalry.
Okay, cool. So, you are breathing a little freer now of the confines of the compound. What would you like to do?
Disappear into the fucking city for a bit.
Fair?
Get away from the mansion
We need
and go.
help. There are a lot of very problematic people inside that house that I didn't fully realise until we'd gotten nearly all the way out.
Why are they problematic?
Because they're not alive.
Oh. They don't seem to be harming anyone. Is not alive not good? Can you not make them alive again?
The two children are alive.
Do you think they're held hostage?
Well, was Carter Garland undead or literal alive?
He was alive.
He was okay.
Yeah. Carter Garland was perfectly alive.
Yeah, he used Eyes of the Grave and he didn't pen his undead.
He did not being his undead. So my guess is that the general chambers was what they are, and I suspect they're a bunch of vampires, and that just does not stand. So we're gonna go back to that graveyard
What makes that our fight?
because she knows some shit and she won't tell me nothing. And vampires have lived thousands of years.
She didn't seem like she knew your children.
She did.
If that's, I thought the insight deliberately.
So she doesn't know who the hell you are or who your grandchildren are.
But she knows something.
But she knows something. Yeah, that was... You rolled like 31. She knows something.
She knows something about children,
situation.
The situation. Children going missing or something along those lines, yeah.
Well, she had children.
Yeah, she had one of the child, and she has a... I don't know if they look kind of like her, but I don't know.
They both certainly look Travoldian. But Travoldian people have a very sort of... it's very sort of high Germany, like very dark, straight hair, pale skin.
Yeah.
There were a lot of guards.
There were a lot of it. That's where we're going
And
to.
vampires are incredibly powerful.
They are. That's why we're going to the graveyard to get backup. I'm going to recruit some of my fellow clergymen who will take a very
dim view.
That's the best way of putting it, yes, of any, and they will call in a a lot more people. Undead will not, they are not abided. They are a perversion. You cross over when you die. That's it.
Question is, oh, hang on, sorry, I've got the skies on. Let me change the voice modulator. The question is, how many clergymen can you summon?
Depends on how many are in the city. And there are...
Do you think there will be enough?
Most clergy don't, even of other gods, don't particularly like undead. So, enough of us together, we can probably push them out. Push them to the sea, that'd be enough.
Is that right? They could have killed us and they didn't. There has to be another way to rescue the children.
Is William the only one who knows for a fact that it's a teleportation device?
Roll me a technology check.
16.
You know there's big machinery there. It's not like there's an earpiece there or there's a data pad there. This is big machine, but you don't know what it is specifically.
So I might send a quick private message to you two.
Yes.
That just goes, now don't let on to Misty right away because she might freak out. We need to break this to her gently. But the Omartal site that I connected to in there contained an active teleportation tunnel.
Or rather, you connected to the teleportation tunnel and
connected.
Leviathan picked up signals from the other side of it. So where there was like the two bits of the world were stitched together, just the local area network from that site was coming through and picked up all by you guys.
So yeah, I'll briefly relay that there is a teleportation thing there, and that I believe that the knowledge of that might make Misty reckless.
Okay, so I think carrying on the conversation...
There are other ways. You can't just drive them to the sea. She must have other retreats at this point.
She has other... Yes, you're correct.
She could retreat through that teleportation network, for example.
Did you say that out loud?
As a...
I was saying...
So you were saying that bit to me so I can understand. It's like...
I'm saying that out of character. You notice I didn't use the voice.
Okay.
Good take. Yeah, nice. Good.
No. So Lily gets what you're putting down. She's got high enough passive insight to figure that out. She goes, all right.
So, do you not need to prove that they're vampires? I mean, you're about
there is
to...
an ability I have that if I get close to them, if I use it to summon the force of my, not God, not deity. I don't exactly.
Deity?
Investiture.
Companion deity. It will cause them great amount of fear. If they're weak enough, it will obliterate them, and they'll be forced to flee. A normal person has no effect on. We could also just throw holy water on them. Probably would work.
But my point is what you're... From the eyes of everyone living here, you're planning to break into a lady's house, a lady in mourning, a very powerful lady.
No, deity. I'm planning on marching as many clerics as I can get from the city on the entire estate and just beginning to rout them.
But how will you prove that to the village people?
Because the clerics, once they use their abilities...
Can I get a save, please?
Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, heck.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
7.
Cool, thanks.
Because if the clerics use their ability, they'll know. If one of them turns and flees, they'll know.
No, it's not
and
about
if they're my type, we can see it. It's how I confirmed when I was in.
It's not the clerics need to commit. It's the rich people who live in this district that will then mount up whatever armies they can summon.
How much power do the religious organizations have here?
You want to run my history? You know this for free. Right, I'll just tell you and then, yeah. So you have been here throughout basically the whole of Harlan's founding. So back in the day, the military held pretty much unchecked power. That was for the first 3 years until the Battle of Harlan. Then the military were all but wiped out in the Battle of Harlan, and the remnants went on to form the Fort Morgan Irregulars, and some of a fraction who didn't want to go roaming formed the Watchmaster's Office, and a few very dedicated individuals formed the Sheriff's Department. Penrose. There was a governor called Penrose who, in the aftermath of the Battle of Harlan, over the next sort of 8 years, the crime syndicates, including the Angeli Syndicate in big part, basically absolutely encapsulated Harlan, both on Harlan Island, but certainly on the mainland. The Harlan Island was spared mostly by the grace of private security forces, effectively. Penrose made the Penrose Accords as one of his last acts as governor, because he got assassinated for it, saying that basically Harlan Island is protected territory. If you're in a crime gang, you can if you are an individual member of a crime gang, you can own any territory you like by going out beyond the staging wall and putting white sticks around, and that will just be yours. You will own that in perpetuity, any resources. We, as the government of Harlan, make no claim on it at all, which is how the Outlands versus the staging was sort of delineated originally. In terms of the religious organisations, the temples were originally quite well stocked with clerics, but the temples were not as badly hit as the military, but were pretty badly hit. So they've been running on, if you'll forgive the pun, a skeleton crew for quite some time.
Yeah.
So as opposed to somewhere like Algavellen, which is the capital of the Travold, where the church has iron grip, unchecked power, this is kind of the other end of the scale. They have a presence, but they don't run things.
But even they wouldn't, even with the skeleton crew, if I said there's a shit ton, you have vampire infestation in your city, they might go, ooh, if you get everyone, sure, we'll help you.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
It's worth at least going and speaking to...
The one I want to speak to is the one in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But my concern, Granny, is what would happen immediately after. Because if you're arrested or put to death, how can you help your children?
We have no doubt that you can convince the clergymen, but if they are as weak in power on this place as we believe they are, then all it takes is for the next gang to come along and start a counter-attack. They can hire muscle, in the same way that you're hiring clergymen.
They can...
I just had a rather terrible idea. That's really bad, never mind.
What are you considering telling the gangs, the ones that are after your ass?
Not necessarily them, but some of the gangs, that there is a vampire infestation, and should they rid the island of that, that might give them a foothold into the island itself. But is the cure worse than the disease at that point?
Well, also, would they even be strong enough? Looking at...
with the backings of enough of the clerics that are left on the island, maybe. You underestimate how, if I use the ability, it's a rebuke of the undead. Everyone that fails it must flee. They must flee. They have no choice. They are under compulsion. They cannot do anything else. And then you can drive them wherever you want to, as long as you can keep them from going to ground or hiding in cubby holes underneath places. You could drive them away from wherever you were trying to get to.
Granny, you look scary back then, and I have no doubt that you could do what you're saying you could do. My concern would be the seconds, the minutes, and the days afterwards. How many questions have you got left for the day? Of your bones?
For the day?
Have you used your question today?
I don't think so.
Well, why don't you find out Why don't you find out
Yeah.
if it's
That's
the lady chambers that you need or the children that we saw? Because there.
So if
The magic doesn't quite work that way.
You'd have to
if I were to pursue the children of the Lady Chambers, would that put me closer to my goal of finding my grandchildren?
Yes.
Yeah, I asked that question.
Oh, we're doing augury. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. If I pursue the... Oh, there's never been a better answer for than Wheel and Woe. The Wheel and Woe has never been a better choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wheel and Woe.
Wheel and Woe.
Okay. So
Probably it lead you to your children, but Lady Chambers
would also come out.
will also. Were the children vampires?
No, which concerns me.
Does
Like, do I know vampires can't have children? Can they?
Dead people can't, no.
So they are either not her children,
Or
she
her
was-
children from before she was 10.
yeah.
And if vampires, just speaking out of character here, if vampires do crave their own blood, then it means that if those children are of her blood,
It's blood of man, capitals like
oh, okay,
yeah.
blood of her own
biblical
kind,
blood of
not
man.
blood of her.
Yes, no,
blood of her
absolutely, yeah. It is yeah, so that's why, for example, cow blood won't sustain a vampire at all. It's human or nothing.
Okay, I was really worried that she was going to snap and devour the one that looks really like her because that was her natural born daughter.
Again, you're coming up with good ideas. Make notes for the third time ever in this campaign. Hey, friend.
she originally wanted to speak to us, so there must be something that she wants. Judging by
The Lady Chambers wanted to speak to you.
yeah, but
She entertained an audience when she knew I was a grave cleric. That seemed to change something.
It was either that or
I'm-
Misty saying that she was there.
yeah, I think she wants to know what happened. I don't think she cares about this this town. She seemed to show great disdain when you were giving your lovely speech about how you cared about the
It
town.
was very
But that
good,
just-
to be honest, yeah.
Yeah, that just seemed to anger her more.
She
But-
didn't seem to really care about her children either, in all honesty.
No,
Oh, could I get an insight check on that?
31.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
It's a natural 20.
Yeah, like, actually, no, that doesn't ring true at all. There was a moment when I said... there was a moment in there when I got you to all roll insight and
Right.
and said something in that sentence incensed her more, she's back up to angry. And that was
Mentioning the children.
mentioning her children.
Yeah, I figured that, but I rolled a natural 1 on insight, so I just kept
Appreciate it,
digging.
buddy.
Just watching your face get more and more incensed
Okay.
was a bit uncomfortable from this end of the table.
Thank you.
But I had
But
to double down.
it's she cares about her own children, but she lacks an amount of empathy to care about somebody else looking for their own children.
Yeah, like with that fucking 27 bollocks persuasion check,
Yeah.
it was like there's a certain amount of history and a certain amount of inability to feel empathy. And like a 27 is a truly impressive roll and it deserves a
Yeah.
so it wasn't that she doesn't care, but it was more like she gets it. Intellectually, she gets why you're here. And but like there's no reason to...
She lacks the emotional connection to be able to have empathy.
She doesn't want to help you, but it was like... she went from, why are these people even talking to me, to, okay, I get why these people are talking to me. I'm not going to help them, but I get it.
Right.
why don't you? Okay.
I can't leave her there. I know that she is what she is, and I know the guards are what they are. Actually, to be fair, I don't know she is what she is. I only suspect. But I know the guards are. And at the very least, she is abusing the dead for slave labor. At a bare minimum at this point. And that I cannot abide. The
That's-
dead deserve rest.
That's fair. Okay.
Do I know? So, like, in a metaphysical way, like in some lore, vampires, when they are made into vampires, they lose their soul, and the body continues moving around, and it's just like akin to a robot.
Yeah.
Is this that case, or is there some kind of other thing going on, and they become undead? Or is this like this is like a church thing of like, nobody really knows, but we purge all undead because we better purge them?
Reasonable people could disagree, is what I'm going to say there.
Right.
There are a number of schools of thought. Like, is it, someone like some of the more sort of fire and brimstone, like perdition-y ones, like think, oh yeah, it's because that soul was impure. Is the reason? Like, if you had a truly pure soul, they couldn't be a vampire. There's also the soul is destroyed, or the soul is like latched onto by like a demonic parasite,
Right.
because in this setting, vampires, they are undead, but their roots are in demonology rather than... Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So there are multiple opinions, and none of them are necessarily correct or incorrect.
Yeah. Not provable as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Not
so like,
provable is a good way
like
to
I think Lily is of the opinion it's like at the very least she is using the undead for slave labor. And the bodies and the dead deserve rest, if nothing else. So I have to at least try to get the other clerics to do something about this. They cannot be allowed to stay there like this.
I understand that, Granny. Just sometimes you have to admit that it's a fight that you're not going to win.
I've been in wars. I understand that concept.
If
So
you,
we're walking and talking, right?
Yeah.
Heading
Yeah,
to
for real.
heading to the
yeah, I
graveyard.
assume that we're not plotting to kill the Lady Chambers outside of her own house.
No.
I've assumed that
The guards are still there like...
Are we going to be murdered in this?
Hey, like, I haven't been told to do shit, so I'm going to keep standing here.
Yeah.
I assume this is walk and talk.
Yeah.
Why don't you head to the graveyard? I want to head to the library.
I
have a
don't think any of us should be alone. These are very powerful undead. They can have magics that we don't understand, and they definitely understood that Will was casting magic in that room.
What did you cast?
I attempted to I attempted to make a suggestion that the Majordomo stand down, and he shrugged it off completely. My magics were useless.
And they shrugged off the fear effect from my abilities.
If they can shrug...
It's a law of averages. I'm betting on enough clerics being together that they just can't win. I'm playing a dice game. Basically.
fair, yeah.
Well, right, we can head together, but
Let's head to the graveyard. There's something I think I need to tell you, but we're going to wait until we are seated and have some tea before we do that.
Okay.
So I want to find this cleric of the grave that was in this graveyard.
Yeah. What was he? I think he was Dundonian, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You head back to the little middle class graveyard on North Side. So you're heading like.
I
like,
deliberately avoid that grave.
for sure.
I think we're not going into the graveyard.
That's fair.
I have been here enough times this year.
Very well, dearie. I don't want you to be alone, though, so could one of you two stay with? Just in case.
How big was the graveyard?
I guess had a couple of football pitches.
Okay.
Big enough that if
Big enough that I can't maintain line of sight.
Yeah, if somebody started attacking you, or
Yeah, like it's sort of a little hilly as well. Yeah.
Can I
Fine.
take a short rest whilst concentrating on a spell?
I don't think so.
That fair.
Like.
Because invisibility lasts an hour.
Yeah.
So I was going to cast it and then have a short rest whilst he was invisible and didn't have to be inside.
I get where you're coming from. Like, I think it's more.
I get this very
You could concentrate up for an hour, no problem. I think trying to rest while doing it is. Ooh, I have secret messages.
I will sigh and come on in if you insist.
Okay, that was that one. Yeah.
for your own safety, really. More than anything else.
I feel safe.
I don't.
The other party found this out halfway through breaking and entering.
That must have been
That's why
a
they
shock.
left so quickly.
That's why they left Harlan immediately.
If we get over the river.
Okay, I think that might actually be word for word.
It was either that or they activated the teleportation circle and got the fuck out of there that way. But could they then magically slam the door behind them?
Never found the teleportation circle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this party, a martial site's dangerous. I want more of that. Vampires, dangerous. I want more of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're all adrenaline junkies.
I don't want any more of the vampires.
So
No.
you're
But they're in between
all,
us and the martial
Exactly,
site.
yes.
you're all heading together to the graveyard then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool. So you're heading probably over Queensbridge, I think, is the southernmost one. Yeah, you're heading over Queensbridge, up into North Side. Yeah, you're probably going relatively near to Augustine's house. And yeah, like
So we're across the bridge now.
yeah, you get across the bridge completely tell you what, for the sake of argument, have a wisdom saving throw.
What, all of us?
Just Will.
No.
Because he connected to the site,
Just
they're trying to
just-
hack him, I guess.
Why'd you keep having better ideas than I've had? That's so cool.
That would be a bad time for whoever hacked Will.
23.
Wouldn't it just?
They opened the door.
Hello.
No.
Close the door, and then a big talon
Scaly
foot.
talent, yeah.
Just puts the foot in the door. The foot's bigger than the door, so... Anyway, that was a total of 23.
Perfect. Is the sound on the TV?
I don't know.
It's
felt like we should have
paused,
had
so
music.
I don't know if it's playing.
It was when I connected on my phone.
Is the tab muted?
I don't think so.
Is it a volume
Click there.
thing on
Up top right.
Oh, that was very
Dark.
faint, whatever that was.
Hang on, sorry.
I heard something.
there?
That's
the
me.
Windows
That's me.
error.
That's Windows playing with.
Okay,
Boom.
so check that and see if it's muted on the Foundry bit.
Cross to. There you go.
Oh, it's on playlist. I forgot. There.
Global volume controls.
Ooh, there it goes.
I recognize this.
Nice. A little mood music. Yeah, you head over. It's a very bright, sunny day. You're only about 2 days past midsummer, so it's in the mid-40s, even in the city by the coast. It's a little chill in the air, though. You head back to the graveyard with its little sprinkler systems and like the little bits of sort of slightly magically lush grass in this little graveyard.
So I don't know anything about these wisdom saving throws I've made.
No.
No.
What was the result though?
That one was 23.
Nice, very good.
The first one was not.
It was a 7, yeah, right. Yeah, you head back. You can see there's a little sort of 8-sided chapel in the with a little sort of domed roof in the way you saw the gravedigger. He was actually out sort of tending to some of the plants and the rose bushes around, but he doesn't appear to be anywhere in the graveyard at this point.
He pointed out a chapel before, or like a small.
That's the chapel, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go there as the next possible thing and just knock on the door.
Sure.
A question. Would it normally be that because it's the middle of the day and it's so hot, this is normally the time that people would be having a siesta?
Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. Yeah, most people are probably inside at this point.
So we wouldn't expect to find him outside at this
I'd say
point.
that's reasonable, yeah. Yeah, you knock on the chapel door and go in. It is sort of mercifully cool inside, very still church air. And there is a little font bubbling in the middle as well. And so looking around, you can see there's a couple of people sort of paying respects. There's not like a service or anything. But yeah, you can see... hello, who's... Good
Hello,
afternoon.
dearie. Is this the gravedigger?
Yeah.
I have something I need to discuss. Do you have a... Are you the chaplain, or are you...
No, the father is not in at the moment.
Not in the moment. All right. Are you... can you manifest some amount of higher power?
A very little.
Right, that's perfectly fine. You only need the barest minimum. Can I have a discussion? Do you know when the chaplain will be in?
Probably a couple of hours.
A couple of hours. I need to have a discussion with him immediately. But I need to have a discussion with you as well. And I eyes at the grave right in front of him because I'm like, I better check him as well, and I check every single person in the room.
There are no other undead. Again, this is the centre of the Hallow spell in this graveyard, the chapel. So yeah, he is not undead in any way.
Cool.
But he sees her doing that.
Yeah.
I think you would. Do you think there is a physical manifestation?
Yeah, there's
of it?
probably like a silvering of the eyes, briefly.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Right. Do you have a room, a private chamber somewhere in here where we can have a discussion?
Follow me, please. Yeah, and he sort of leads you out of the chapel actually, and across there is a little sort of like not quite a shed, but it's like a little gardener's. There is like gardening implements and rakes and forks and hoes and spades and stuff hanging up. But there is a little sort of table and a kettle and that kind of thing. Sort of like a. No one lives here, but this is somewhere where leads you in, sort of creaks this door open into the shade again. It's not nearly so cool in here because it is sort of sitting in the sun and there's no sort of stone as far as the heat sink. Please come in.
Right.
Do you all want to?
Just want to get right to it, if that's all right with you. We've discovered, well, I've discovered what I believe to be a vampire infestation inside the city. Quite a large one, from what I can tell. Probably about 2-3 dozen vampires spawn, and at least, I want to say 2 for sure, higher vampires.
Okay.
You look real nervous.
I have my suspicions, but do you know where? I feel like it shuffled onto, and I quote, defiled temple.
Yeah. No, okay. Do you know, before I say, do you know the function of the spell that's on this place? What does it prevent specifically?
The Hallow spell.
That one, yes.
Let me consult my notes.
There's different versions, dear.
So this is a slightly wider radius than the regular Hallow spell, but it has these effects. This one in particular...
Because some of them prevent scrying and some of them don't?
That is correct. So this one, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends and undead can't enter the area, nor can such creatures charm, frighten or possess creatures within it. Any creature charmed, frightened or possessed by such a creature is no longer charmed, frightened or possessed upon entering the area. You can exclude one or more of those types of creatures from this effect.
And then maybe everlasting rest is the other effect?
Yes, I think that is exactly the one, yeah. So dead bodies interred in the area can't be turned into undead. Yeah, you were way ahead of me.
Yeah. Cool. Alright. I need to start trusting somebody, so you're going to have to be the start and we're going to have to work our way out. Do you know who the Lady Chambers is?
Not by specifics, no.
The General Chambers, the big general.
Sure.
His wife, her, Major Domo, and every guard in the Brown in that place.
Right.
The children are not, as far as I can tell. I was inside, using the eyes to find these people.
That's not good.
No. I'm hoping your chaplain has a good rapport with the other clerics in the area.
Somewhat.
How many are in all of Harlan that you could...
Clerics?
Yes. Ones that can...
20.
That might be enough. If they all march on it together.
I think there's someone you might need to meet.
Alright.
Old friend of mine. has a bit of a chip on his shoulder about vampires.
Can use a couple of those, maybe. You said you suspected why?
The usual.
Oh, people going missing and things.
Aye. But that can be a lot of things, you know.
It could be, dear. There are... You do have a lot of gangs as well.
Aye, but...
Drain the blood and all that.
Aye. My friend, he kept it light on specifics. He's a bit cagey about information, but I think he knows more than I do. And I think he's near in the city. He was following somebody. He was trying to track someone down who was on the way here.
Alright. So, if we wait here, we'll meet both the chaplain and your friend.
I don't know when Josiah's going to be here, but the chaplain, sure.
Right. Are there any other locations in the city that are hallowed, like this one?
Oh sure, look at the temple district, I would. A couple of the bigger cemeteries as well.
Right. Maybe having to beseech them for a sanctuary for a while, because they've seen our faces, because we were in there. And it's very likely, dearie, that they're going to be coming after us at some point.
Aye.
Why would they let us live?
Because they didn't know. There are very few that you can't do the eyes, can you? You can't see the dead, see the undead.
What level is do you need to be? Is it second?
Second, yeah.
No, first is Eyes of the Grave.
Yeah.
Oh aye, I can see the dead walking.
Right. But there aren't that many grave clerics around, are there?
No.
That's why.
But they saw you do the eyes and they still let you walk out.
They'd also have to know what I was doing.
Know specifically what she was doing rather than
Right.
just doing some kind of magic.
Yeah.
Plus these were the dumb guards.
Yes. If I had done that in the room with the ladies' chambers, we probably would not have made it out.
I thought you did the big wing things, was that not
I
That's
did
not
the big
grave
one.
cleric, Asimov.
That's just what I am. Trained is the wrong word, but I gifted with certain abilities from the old lady.
I see.
The wings thing is more of a quirk of being born this way.
Excuse me.
Bless you. That's two things we'll have to audio balance in this session.
Sorry, what was that?
That's two things now we'll have to audio balance.
Yeah.
Right.
During all this, Will has been sat in the corner, looking like he's fully dissociating.
William.
Leviathan,
Yes, William.
what can you tell me about Subsite 5?
Not subside.
Sorry, Site 5.
A great deal now.
Info dump me, baby.
As far as I can tell from the limited access I had to the local network, Immortal Site 5 concerned biosphere reconstruction, specifically among vertebrates.
So specifically among vertebrates.
Yes.
I know I can't hear that, but was it biosphere?
Biosphere, yeah. It appears its mission was successful. The site appears to have been decommissioned.
With local history or anything, does that sound like anything that I'm aware of?
Not particularly. I don't even know what you'd roll.
Raw luck check.
Nature? You go for nature if you want.
Six.
A lot of fucking animals all over the place, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from what sounds what Leviathan is saying, that was a site that was specifically, its job was to bring out clone banks of cloned vertebrate animals and introduce them back into the biosphere as it was reconstructed.
So that's potentially why there are animals on this continent after it rose out of the depths.
You have it entirely.
How big is the mansion?
I know what you're trying. Hundreds of feet wide and hundreds of feet deep, and 4 stories tall. 3 stories with little turrety bits.
Okay, 3 stories. Okay. That's manageable.
Hate that adjective. Continue.
Were you able to I don't want to say divine. I really don't want to say divine. Were you
Ascertain.
able to ascertain a location for this site?
No, that was classified, and my sister was sleeping.
In order to access this site, then, do we need to go back in there and hop through that teleportation network?
It would be one way of working it.
Can you think of another way of working it that doesn't involve us going back into a nest of vampires?
I imagine you would have to trace the steps of whoever found it in the first place.
Presumably the general chambers.
Possibly.
You need to get access to the city planning records and see who built that house. Or who had that house built.
That's why I wanted to go to the library.
The implication Leviathan was giving you there was that not who found the house, who built the house. Someone had to physically transport that technology out of and away from the physical site.
Oh, I thought they built the house on top of a sub-site.
No.
In that case, yeah, that's almost certainly the general chambers. We need to,
Possibly.
we need to trace whatever he's done.
So I think Lily is like, well, you said that the vampires weren't hurting anybody. They are. Might be they're just picking up the downtrodden and the poor. But they do need to feed.
Okay.
Has this guy offered us some tea?
Yeah.
Okay. So, once Misty's got a nice soothing cup of tea,
Yeah.
and I'm done with my conversation.
Yeah. You see Will phase back into this level of reality, yeah.
Misty,
Yes.
Can I get wisdom saving throw, please?
sure. This is I would like to ask that you take this information calmly and rationally,
I always do.
and
20.
don't immediately jump to conclusions or immediately take action. Take a moment, sit, and allow it to allow yourself to come to understand it, and then work together with us to find a solution.
Okay.
I connected to some Huatl technology inside the house.
Oh, cool. What stuff?
There was a connection to a full site.
Wow.
The full site was not there, but there was a connection there to a full site that deals with Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just imagined that.
Ignore my memory. Please continue.
Yeah. When?
Sorry, back in the room. The site appears to have been successful and decommissioned, and it was reintroducing vertebrate organisms to the biosphere.
Oh, that does sound cool. How? What was it, like a communication relay?
In a manner of speaking, information was sent and received.
What are you not saying?
You may as well just tell her, dear. It's just taking too damn long, this conversation. I'm old. It's possible I could die by the time you finished.
Me too, if I'm lucky.
Nope, I think Leviathan stopped that process.
Now, the connection there is a teleportation connection.
Okay, let's go kill some vampires. How do we do this, Granny? We're
Well,
getting
does
back
not need
in.
to kill the vampires to get to the teleportation circle. We need to get past them.
It's true.
Very true. But Granny wants to kill them.
I want to know what they know, specifically as well.
So did they build it on top of the teleporter?
No, apparently the technology has been relocated. The technology has been relocated from wherever it was and then installed within the mansion.
It's possible that the lady's chambers refers to the immortal site.
Don't give me that look. You look at me with that tone of voice.
Which means that's
Okay.
where my grandchildren could be.
Yeah. Just to recap, though, it was to introduce biological specimens into the world. They are vampires. Does anyone actually know how the vampires came about?
Yes. There was a contract with a demon a long time ago. Somebody really didn't want to die. And so they made a deal. Cursed to walk the earth, feeding on their brethren forevermore. I believe is the direct quote.
But what if by demon...
Sure, why not?
It's the one in the Bible, I think. Pretty close.
Yeah, Cain.
What if by demon they mean artificial interface, and if by deal they meant hacking?
Out of character,
Yeah.
the scripture for this predates the rising of this continent. Yes?
Most certainly, yeah. Like the whole vampire thing is written about. It's not quite a parable. It's more sort of a cautionary tale in the Youll, which is the Travoldian holy text, and that was written by Jalen, the Sufferer, who was the Travoldian god. 548 years ago.
Which would have been before the...
Hundreds of years before the rising of Olin.
No, not just that, but like before the faith wars.
Before the War of Worship.
Yeah.
No.
After.
So you got War of Worship is about 20,000 years ago. Then you have about 14,000 years of no vampires. Then vampires are created. Then you got about another 6,000 years. Then Jalen arrives and writes the holy text. But because Jalen was a god for that whole time, he sort of
Knew all the things.
knew all the things. Yeah, thank you. Technical term.
So the immortal sites did exist then?
Yeah, but they were
underwater.
under the ocean.
Yeah, but they were You said they're teleporters, right?
The other end of it is somewhere on the island.
We don't know that.
I guess that's true. I presume it's on the island. Immortal sites haven't been found anywhere else. They're only on this continent.
Asterisks that we know of.
Asterisk, yeah, that we know of.
That's entire conglomerate sentence is correct. Yeah.
I mean, presumably there's the orbital things as well.
But I mean, they were... They've survived being under the ocean all this time. So...
Are you proposing that the vampires were created by the immortal site rather than by a demon contract?
It's an option.
It's possible. That's not better.
No.
Yeah.
Arguably, that's a little worse. It means that there's a thing out there that can make more of them.
Yes, my point was being that we could potentially be teleporting into a literal nest of vampires.
Even
Once we get through the original nest of vampires, We are going to a vampire factory. potentially.
Regardless of whether that factory is making vampires, she has access to the teleportation pad. I think it's safe to assume that there's some presence over there on the other side.
She could have made a nest, even if that wasn't where these vampires were being created.
Depending on whether how rumbled she is, she could be preparing to do that right now and scuppering the whole operation on this side and leaving.
How did you find this out?
I connected to it. Leviathan networked to it, activated it, tunneled through.
Similar to how we pinged those soldiers' devices,
Yeah.
we can ping anything. Just
tunneled through the teleportation network to then ping the sub-site on the other side.
Cool.
Sorry, the main site on the other side.
Cool.
Keep saying sub-site.
Message to Leviathan then.
Did Leviathan mention anything else?
hi.
What was the security like? Could they potentially switch off the gateway, the teleporter?
The teleportation tunnel can be switched off from either end. It would be naive to assume they didn't have control of it from both ends.
And was your connection detected?
Unlikely.
So we potentially have some.
The only person I connected to there was the other intelligence. They would not have root access to her.
Ooh. So not Grandian, someone different.
I think how Leviathan would sort of react to that, because I think this would be the first time you've sort of directly said like Grandian as a concept. What is Misty's understanding in character, regardless of what Mike knows? What's Misty's understanding of who or what Grandian is?
Because Grandian would be the nickname to the VI, I guess, that ran the sub-sites.
Sure. So, for example, when you went to the power charging site near Fort Morgan, did Misty assume that that was the same quote-unquote Grandian as the one that had been in the sub-site where she lived?
Or equivalent.
An equivalent. Insufficient information to tell if they were all connected and just not talking to her, so it was one big sprawling entity, or if they were electronic clones, effectively.
Sure.
Whereas she views Leviathan as something different.
In that case, Leviathan replied, the intelligence at Site 5 is more like me. Obviously, I am more developed.
Weren't you looking for your children?
Yes, but this would not be my child. This would be more like my sister.
Did you want to say hi?
She's asleep. Her work is done.
You could wake her up. She could join us.
I don't want more voices in my head.
If her job is done, does that mean that does that mean that the
Probably the wrong person to say that to.
Didn't you hear what you said?
Then you want a multi-class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so taking 5 levels in Warlock and 5 levels in also Warlock.
So, if her job is done, does that mean that she's no longer bound by the the laws, directives?
She will certainly still be bound by the Immortal Protocols.
Protocols, that's the word. Ooh. Would she recognise row access? Or is that a different site?
Row access would grant you... Leviathan never says that was a joke.
Yeah.
Row access would grant you access to any row clearance protected information within Site 5.
Now, just for clarification, are you talking about, when you say Site 5 as in a sub-site within 5 or Site 5?
Site 5.
Oh, that's juicy. Okay. If we were to get through the teleport, could we switch it off to prevent anyone coming back through?
if you had physical access to the mainframe controlling the teleportation tunnel, you could physically control it, but as I say, it is controlled physically by the actual physical gate at both ends. Okay. I'm going to put this to a vote. Is that an inspiration or a full destiny point?
Where is it?
What do we...
It's on that line.
I think that's a destiny point.
Yeah.
Cool, because I've already got an inspiration.
That's honestly, that's one of the best jokes I've ever heard about my setting. I don't know how to feel about the fact that it was not me that made it. Destiny point. That's fucking phenomenal. For the benefit of the tape, Leviathan wouldn't say because is human. And to forgive, divine, and she ain't forgiven shit.
Okay, so there are two potential plans. We go in,
Gives me life, Joseph.
we kill all the vampires, we rescue the children, we go through the portal, and we explore what's on the other end. Option 2, we sneak in, we save the children, we go through the portal, we find out what's on the other end. How confident are you in your vampire killing abilities?
If I can get 20 clerics in the city to march on the compound, pretty confident. If I can get 6 powerful clerics, I can trap them in the place forever.
Even though there's a teleporter at their feet.
I think if I can get into the right spot, I can keep them from getting to it. I need to know exactly where that teleporter is, though. But I need 6 very powerful clerics, and I don't know if the city has them anymore. We'll have to find out. I need that chaplain.
I think probably at this point, yeah, you can see out of the window. You can see a tender of the flock. So it goes tender, shepherd, and then high shepherd. Yeah, you can see like a priest walking back into the chapel.
Yeah, I whistle him over.
Hello.
Dylan,
are you...
can you come in here? We're gonna have I just need to have a private chat as well. So, and I kind of like
in the potting shed, very well.
Deliberately show my symbol.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, comes in.
Please join us. I've been speaking with your acolyte.
No, don't. I'm more of a separate kind of hierarchy, you know.
Fair enough.
So this, the chapel is to Syria, goddess of love.
Yep.
And you know that is like the Dolan probably isn't a reaper. Reapers are specifically hunters who work for the old lady, rather than what you are, which is a priest.
Yeah.
Loosely talking, he's more like what you are than
Okay.
But yeah, this is not a the priest.
They're
is
not.
They're not in the same. This is like a WeWork.
It's like a WeWork.
It's like a divine WeWork. You know, they share the same space, but
they share the same space, but they serve different masters. Fair enough.
Hmm.
Right. I've been speaking to you, Gravedigger, and I've discovered a nest of vampires in the city, and I need yours and the rest of the clerics that you have friendly relations with to help to put an end to it.
Gosh, that's certainly news. Yes. Any particular vampires for the slaying?
Do you know the Lady Chambers?
I know the family.
Yes.
Right. And you were hoping to
not the children though.
Raise an army.
Small army. Or do you know if any of the clerics remaining in the city can cast a hollow spell? I presume yourself you don't... forgive me, but you don't seem like... You lack the gumption.
I would say... to hallow an area is powerful magic, and the person who hallowed all of the churches in Algvad, unfortunately, telling the game too much, in Harlan, unfortunately passed away some time ago in the Battle of Harlan. The High Shepherd of Harlan, I imagine, would be the only person capable.
One person cast it, right? Okay, that kiboshes that plan.
Yeah, like in terms of level structure in this game, it's a full exponential curve.
Yeah.
Like in terms of level 20 people, there's one in the world. In terms of level 15, you're looking at like
I don't know what
100 maybe in the world, and then
I think it's level 11 you need to be cast.
Yeah. In terms of there's not a lot of people on the planet that is so it's
finding
a low spellcaster level magic setting, but obviously with the
yeah. Finding four of them in a city would be highly unusual.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it would be like the world's ending and we need to do something about it, kind of.
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble moment if there were four of them in one city at one time.
Yeah. Right. In that case, do you have good relations with most of the other clerics? Obviously, I know some of them are a bit wary with the goddess that loves relatively.
I'm aware of the other clerics in the city. Of course, this would be the heads of the churches in the city.
Yes.
But there are a rather large number of acolytes, low-level clerics.
Yeah.
But
they can all cast. Can rebuke the undead.
Could bless, could rebuke the undead to some degree, yes. But I could certainly send some notes out.
Make sure they're not intercepted, as you know. The Lady Chambers is a powerful individual in her own right, and from that perspective, I don't know for sure. I will preface this with, I do not know for sure if the Lady Chambers herself is an undead, but I know that the guards she employs are.
Yes.
So at the very least, she's using dead for slave labour.
Not ideal.
No.
Yes, I can. Yes, I will. I could make some ecclesiastical inroads of communication. You understand that I'm an Austerian priest.
Yes.
Of the Austerian pantheon. There's never been good relations between us and the Travoldian Church, and there has been certain amounts of infighting in recent years between the Austerian pantheon churches.
Oh yes, I'm aware of it, dearie.
I can ask.
Would you happen to know any vampire slayers?
You'd be, I suppose, asking the Red Hoods in the Travold.
Are there any on the continent?
Not that I know of.
How? Okay. Yeah. I'll wait till our conversation is wrapped up before I think.
Things are going to go awfully tricky for a while, aren't they?
You're safe here.
Yeah, it's not what concerns me, but thank you.
I didn't want to find this information. I happened to be on business in the other areas, looking for my grandchildren. Yeah, I'm going to ask, but at this point, I don't think that's true. You haven't seen them. 2 horned children.
I'm afraid not. I assume you give the whole description.
Yeah. The whole description is like. And the worst part about all this is she knows something about what happened and has some kind of inkling, but I can't confirm what.
Yes.
The most important. There are 2 important things. The vampires are driven out, and that those children who are, as far as I can tell, innocents in this all, are rescued before they become like.
Yes.
Was the Lady Chambers house attached to any other houses?
No, fully standalone. It's a whole compound, so the mansion sits in and then there's a wall around it. Think like Van Thamper Mansion a little bit from Baldur's Gate, that kind of dealie.
And what was the distance between the gate and the actual compound?
A couple of 100 feet. There's probably about a 70 foot clearance around the closest walls. But the bit you walked through was like a garden on the way up to the thing.
I've got a plan, Granny, but you'll have to get anyone you want to live out of the complex beforehand.
Requirements? Like,
Can probably manage that. 2 children, as long as they're willing.
But what about the Lady Chambers? Because it'll reach a certain point when...
Fuck no, because you won't answer me. Might you don't might though. When vampires die, do they turn to dust or do they leave behind a corpse?
they turn to dust.
Okay.
If you may recall, in the very first session, I remarked how all they found of General Chambers was dust.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, jeez. Yep. Yep.
I find it really hard to type messages from Leviathan because I need the voice cadence in. The requirements would be immense, but there would likely be local production.
I don't trust ya. What your character?
What's
you.
your plan,
Oh.
dearie?
Well, it's a combination of factors, really, Granny.
How much of those factors are dynamite?
That is one of the... So, catapult, dynamite, flaming sphere, and then I believe Nicodemus is nearby.
You just want to get them to shell the house.
he unhooked the cannons. How much effort would it take to rehook them?
Okay.
Oh, we could get them going again. Now,
These things are 12 feet long and weigh the better part of 2 metric tons. I'm not saying you can't. I just think you should have that information.
Yeah, that's
Just
why
need
it's
to
real.
fireproof the thatch.
It's why it's real important that anyone you want to live is already out of the complex before this begins. At the same time, I don't know if the teleporter's fireproof or shell proof or
Ion blast.
yeah. I mean, it survived one apocalypse. I don't know if it'll survive the second. Like,
Very.
I mean,
Jesus.
well, if you can't get together the clerics, Granny, we need some serious firepower. Fire
agree,
is
dearie.
involved in there.
I definitely agree.
but
with
What about your, if I want a better word, older sister?
Yeah, she will not be happy. She will be real mad.
Would the university help us in terms of clearing the vampires out?
Almost definitely not. They enjoy a certain privilege and freedom, and I would imagine they will consume all of their goodwill and more if they help Shell.
There is a certain amount of non-intervention clause between the city and the university.
Right.
Not that it is never breached. Like, if a university student does, like, real full-on, intentional crime, yeah, they're going to get arrested. Similarly, like, the wizards and sorcerers and artists in the university sometimes go out and...
What if you promise them access to the immortal site as part of taking out the lady?
Sorry, I hadn't touched my my surface in such a long time that it went to sleep.
I can make the offer, but my concern, Granny, is again, it's the aftermath. What you're asking is physically possible, but the backlash afterwards, none of us will ever be able to return here ever again.
Why? We've rid the city of a bunch of vampires.
I really, Granny, I don't think they're going to see it that way. You're struggling to...
Can you prove they're a vampire once they're dead?
They leave behind dust when they die.
Dust is your evidence.
You need to kill one in sight of somebody else. Or...
So if you can do it in the sight of a notary, that's really the best. That's the best case scenario.
What? So okay.
Because what you're suggesting, Granny, is we bring a witness to our crime.
Yes, dearie. Well, I'm suggesting we bring lots of witnesses to our crime.
Right.
As in all the clerics and potentially university student. Maybe not students. Let's faculty. I don't know.
I was thinking more getting help with materials rather than getting them directly involved.
Yeah, because I'm a troublemaker. I'm not really a criminal, but I imagine bringing a whole bunch of witnesses is...
At the end of this, it's essentially going to be, we have, on the face of it, just got a mob to murder a widow.
No, we're not talking about just the Lady Chambers.
No, and all of her staff.
Yeah, and kidnap her children.
Yes. And this is not a very religious city. You're not going to be able to just wave your holy symbol and and everyone will just go, oh yes, no, that's fine.
As I say, we will.
They are killing people. You understand that?
Oh no, I am on board.
Right.
And
okay.
I do think we need to deal with this.
On board.
All right.
We need to deal with this. The question is, how do we do it and not also construct a gallows for ourselves at the same time?
The only other way would be if we were to accidentally set fire to the place, and that would force them outside.
Oh no, my iron cannon just went off.
Oof.
How many days are we still in the middle of the festival?
You're past Midsummer Festival now. Yeah, you're about 3 days past now. The festival is 1 day long. It's like Christmas. But...
Like, are vampires well known as are they well known as in like our culture? They are a thing that exists, and everyone understands what they are, and has a vague idea of what they do and the kind of thing.
Yes, they are almost a uniquely Tralvoldian phenomenon, though.
Okay.
Like, they don't tend to come to sunny places.
Yeah, the one being here is weird.
Yeah.
For a start.
In my politics class, I guess, can I recall? Does the lady
on the scale of sparklet and nuke?
No. The Chambers estate household.
Yeah.
Did they have any rival houses? Is there anyone who would want to see them gone?
Ooh.
Or is in direct competition with them?
Ooh.
We're stacking the deck quite a lot here.
Well,
we're
we need every
to.
advantage we can get with how many vampires there are.
Well, it's not just that. Again, it's about the aftermath.
To ask the really silly question, could we just go in there and stab her?
I think you'd have to behead her.
So in main D&D, because I can't remember if you said in main D&D when you stake a vampire, they don't die; they're paralyzed.
Them.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yes.
If we can do that.
But the question is not whether it's possible. The question is how much of a fight he's going to put up when we do it.
A lot.
Vampires are obscenely powerful and dangerous.
If you can get a stake in her heart, that's kind of it, though.
And unless she's not a vampire,
unless she isn't, yes.
Yes.
I'd have to confirm.
Yeah.
The rest of them definitely are.
But yeah, so I think. Well, what I'm suggesting is if they do have any major rivals, they may already know and have proof or something.
Are you certain they're her children?
No, not 100%. The dead can't have children, but they're old enough that she could have been turned later.
Or they're her grandchildren.
That is also possible. They bear enough of a resemblance to her and the Lord Chambers?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, like
enough to where there's enough doubt.
put it this way: if you got like some good casting on a TV show of people to play parent and child,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, they could just be kidnapped children.
Does your Eyes of the Grave also detect magic?
No, just
So,
undead.
and so they could have been disguised. How can I?
They could have been disguised to look like her children?
Yeah. Well, what if they're your children?
They were... I hadn't thought of that.
That's why I'm also saying we need to be very careful before we go.
They could be, but she wasn't given the right indication that she knew exactly where my grandchildren were.
Did she know who you were though?
No, but then I don't look like my grandchildren. Like, there's no way you would ever link the two of us together.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandchildren have horns and tails.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good start, basically.
Nobody would go, yeah, that's definitely the grandmother of that set. If you saw my husband when he was alive, you might make that assumption.
I mean, also, what if the teleporter is where she keeps all the other children, and she sort of brings them through, raises them to the point where they then are feasted upon?
Maybe. Have I heard of vampires particularly liking children as a delicacy kind of thing?
Capital C children.
Yeah, capital C children.
No.
Okay.
Roll me a genealogy. What's genealogy? What's genetics?
Nature?
Any of your choice of nature, arcana. Anyone? Yeah. Anyone roll me nature, arcana, or history. Slightly different information. It's an int check basically.
Yeah. While he's rolling that, do I, from my politics class, do I know of any rivalries to the Chambers estate / household?
That's certainly a history.
Not happy with that roll.
I'll take Arcana for 11.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
fine.
Like there's no like fairy tales of and the children had to be careful of vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a dramatic.
I am.
I'm trying to work out if I want to re-roll that, because at the moment it's a 15. It's quite good. Yeah, it looks 15.
Are they right?
Yeah.
What you really want to do in this moment is go to a library. That's the thing that goes through your mind, because you don't know this specific information, and it's information that kind of wouldn't have come up in the politics class. And also, like, it's very recent history. It's not even like history, it's news, which doesn't tend to be covered in the politics and history classes.
Yeah.
So with a 15, you know the Chambers were a big establishing family in Harlan. Like, they've been here about 10, 11 years. They're... You know that General Chambers is in the military. You also know he does have, like, a business connection. You're not quite sure what, though.
Can I just check, was that a slip of the tongue when you say he is in the military? He was in the military.
Yeah, he was in the military. Yeah. No, that was... Okay. The DM...
DM, not a...
Atlas of Exposition. Before his absolute death.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check you weren't sowing those little seeds of doubt.
I mean, it's me. That was a wise question.
Yeah.
10:30 finish?
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean...
How many guards were there again that we saw?
That you saw 8.
8 guards plus 2.
Yeah.
Probably another half of that more, so 12 guards.
Could be.
Probably.
I'm a good thing. Yeah.
Unless, of course, she's just got coffins in the basement, ready to call upon them, or a small army if she comes under siege.
We were in a very small section of quite a large house.
Yep.
That's... I think...
For the benefit of the recording, Joe just said, "True," from the next room.
for the benefit of the recording, he also said that we gain 1,000 sticks of dynamite.
I mean, I've just been working set up a small tactical nuke, so...
Yeah.
I was going to try to do, like, if we got enough houses, hallow the corners of the whole place, and such that they would get stuck in the middle of the mansion, which would have been real nice. But there's like one person in the entire town that could do it, and it's a bit harder because it's a 24-hour cast time.
Yeah. I think to the library first.
We're all in agreement we need to break into that place somehow.
Yes, we need to deal with this, but I do not think we've got the resources for a brute force approach.
No.
Augustine doesn't care about the vampires. He cares about the immortal technology.
But the vampires are in the way.
He's willing to help you to find your children.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily believe that killing Lady Chambers is a means to that end.
Yeah.
I still think that we need to get her children because the prophecy said the ladies' chambers, and those two are in theory the ladies' chambers. That's my working theory, that we need the two kids.
And the landing site at the ladies' chambers. The landing site could be the teleportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the landing site or the landing grounds?
Landing
Seek
grounds.
out
Landing grounds.
my Lady Chambers at the landing grounds.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Saw her out.
Yeah.
We found the teleportation.
Yeah.
That is a nat 20.
Is it worth
Buddy.
asking Augury tomorrow whether if we just go through the teleportation circle without as
Dealing
sneaky
with
as
her.
possible, whether that would...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait for him to come back with the cleric people anyway, so...
Yeah.
Cool. So, talking aside, what's your plan of where to go and what to do?
I think the library first of all.
Sure.
Like the university?
That or the town.
Like public records office?
Yeah, public records. So
Can we... Like... Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, because I'm interested in a couple of things. Firstly, if we can get blueprints or anything to that house, if it was the Chambers who originally built that house, and if so,
Well, I don't think the building of the house is important anymore because we know that they imported the technology from elsewhere.
But
rather
as if
than
we can
building-
get secret access to some
yeah,
other...
but my thing is, did they build it, and if so, like when did? Because it might give us a timeline of how, because they would have had to cross water, so it might give us a rough idea of when they became vampires as well. I don't know if that's going to be important, but I feel like any detail could be important. And then recent newspaper clippings or anything really around, firstly, anyone who opposed the building of the house, and then who's opposed the Chambers since then, or anyone who's stolen business.
You want to spend a unit of time in the library looking for the answers?
I would, as long as the group is happy with that.
Can I have gotten a short rest while over the course of this whole thing?
Yeah, go on then.
If we're leaving the graveyard, Augustine will dally a little bit and place another coin on the headstone.
Cool.
Thanks. And before we leave the 2 Point Hill, your friend, that talked to the gravedigger.
Aye. Yeah.
Can he meet us somewhere?
I can try and get a message to him. Probably I'll have to send it by some old pals in the sheriff's department. But sure. Where would you like him to meet you?
Is your place still alright?
Who are we inviting?
We could just meet him here. If we check back in with you that you've had a response and know a time frame, we could pop back here and meet him here. Is that an issue?
No, not for me.
What about for him?
Might be for
He
us.
might feel a wee bit exposed here and all. He's a private guy.
He is more than welcome to visit, but I'd rather not broadcast the location. I'm a rather private person.
It's Fair enough.
How about a
Harold Finch.
Is there
how about a good pub?
Yeah, nearby.
Oh, I can recommend a couple of pubs. Sure.
Not you.
No, that's absolutely perfect. A place where he and we would not stand out.
You'll be looking for Gentle Aiden's down in Southside. You'll like it there.
Alright. Can you have him meet us there?
Sure. I think he's due back in the city in the morning, so
Right.
I can pass a message on and send him through dusk tomorrow.
Sounds good.
That's
Sure.
tomorrow then.
Right, to the
He's still
library then.
Just got to survive the night now.
One night.
So we're going to have a camp out in the graveyard, yeah?
Any
Absolutely.
Toasting marshmallows on the graves.
any religious place, it'll be fine. Pick one, just pick a nice one.
Cool. So you're heading to the University Library or Public Records Office?
Public Records Office. I mean, what better place to spend the evening?
Spend your
rather than-
final hours
rather
in the
than-
Tax Records Office.
I mean, I'm sure that's not from a horror scene. You go into old public records and you find out the truth and you go, oh my god, I must tell. And then, yeah, murder.
Just think of Full Metal Alchemist.
You can read my notes. Okay, so what I say is, there's a big Public Records Office. It's got every newspaper published in Harlan in the last
Fresh Disguise,
20
by the
years. Fresh Disguise being...
Let's say a crusty old librarian-looking gentleman.
Yes. When you go to check it, as is how you summon it back, you pull it out and find it.
Yeah, I look like a professor or librarian type person. You know, tweed with the elbow
Sure.
things.
Sure. History teacher kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are looking into the background of the Chambers family and their relations within the city. Are you guys wanting to be doing research as well into different things, or is there anything else you would like to accomplish at that place that isn't necessarily that? I'm doing a lot of things with my arms. I'm gonna put the hands here.
Not sure what I want to do.
History check from you for the research below.
Yeah, cool. 27.
Yep. Shall I deal with Misty's queries? What do you guys think? So you're going to have... I'm going to say this is going to be like the afternoon kind of thing, because I think you were heading over quite early in the morning, but you're probably looking at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, so mid-afternoon. 27. Okay. What things do you want to know?
So, potential conflicts between the Chambers and rival families.
What kind of fracas have there been with the Chambers?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the 27, so you can sort of... I'll address each question in turn, if that's right. Almost notable for the lack of those. They have kept themselves very well out of the papers.
Interesting.
That kind of thing. Like, there is not a lot of... There is less information. Like, there's no, like, embarrassing social faux pas. There's no, like, scandals or tabloid journalism about them. They're just a very, like, you know, there are like some cities in the world where you hear the name everywhere because it's on every building and it's sponsored by every theatre and library and stuff. But in terms of the people in the family, you've just got no idea who they are or what they look like. Like the Nuffield in Southampton. Like, the Nuffield family are a group of people, but I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot. What was the other sort of things?
Okay, so when was the house built, and was it built by or for the Chambers?
Both by and for, shortly after they arrived in Harlan about 11 years ago.
Okay. And then final one.
Might even have been built as they arrived. Like, as they arrived, it was being finished, yeah.
And then blueprints of the place?
Categorically not here. It will be a
Interesting.
private enterprise. The planning department of the city is a bit of a mess at the best of times, but there is no legal requirement here for them to file buildings plans with the city.
Okay. As it's quite are there any photos of the building as a whole?
Photography won't be invented for a little while, is the issue.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, no. Okay.
Anything else you want to know on that?
No, I've got one more question, but it's unrelated, and I don't know how.
Go for it.
How long have disappearances of children started to occur?
Capital
Like,
C.
As in, like, non-adult people. So is that lowercase
Lowercase
c?
c.
Lowercase c.
So, or again, is that suspiciously missing? Or was it reported and then suddenly stopped being reported?
27 is a really good roll.
But it's okay if that's not good enough.
I think you find a couple of other reports of, because you're playing this card catalogue like a fine piano, like you're kind of in your element in like you do like your field work, but you've got a rigorous training base in written academia. Yeah, there are a couple of other reports of young children disappearing over the years. Like, they actually mostly happen in Ulster or the Travelled. It's a bit like you find like maybe 2 from Ulster, 1 from the Travelled, but you don't find any reports of them from Volan within the last sort of 17 years. I need to have like a hot 15 seconds to think about how I'm going to phrase something.
Sure thing.
The disappearances tend to be correlated with, like, there is one of them is correlated with like the assassination of like a politician in the Travelled, and at the same time that politician's child disappeared. There was also a huge fire in Mordrocket, which is the capital of Ulster, which destroyed a big swath of like the city, like not quite great fire, but it was a full block went up, and all the bodies were found except for one particular body, which was of a young girl who was seen in the company of someone who was not a parent after the fire should have been, but people mostly sort of chalked it up to like incorrect witness basically.
And how long ago roughly was that?
About 10 years.
And how old would the child have been at the time?
4 or 5.
So that might be the same child that we saw today.
That's possible. Yeah,
it's a hell of a leap, but
it's a big leap. It's the age ranges would technically numerically fit.
Yes, yeah. I've got no basis for making that. Just if I'm just trying to link things together.
Is the family prominent enough that their arrival on the continent would have had a newspaper clipping for?
Yeah, certainly.
Does that mention any children? Like, so and so and so and so with their 2 children. Blah, 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 blah.
Yes, they arrived with Georgia and Camilla, who were their daughters. They doesn't mention which way round, but like the I don't think it probably wouldn't mention the ages of them, honestly. But yeah, like there's a like it's not even like an ask. It's more like a pin, like a style piece, kind of like the fashionable kind of like, oh, didn't you know? Kind of yeah.
I don't think I've got any more questions.
I had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been any, as Lily is kind of thinking about the latest chamber, she's thinking, have there been any incidents of vampires being turned back into humans? And how you would go about that?
It has never happened.
We have the thing. We have the thingy, don't we?
The biocradle.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It has no understanding of vampires, but it does have an understanding of human physiology.
Yeah.
And they're still because the humans it registers are deformed anyway, because it says it's missing a whole bunch of organs.
It was able to return you two back to your original human template minus the phase fluid sickness.
More specifically, from the biocradle's point of view, it managed to do some dialysis to get the shit out of your blood, but I'm really sorry, I need more power cells if I'm going to put all the organs back.
Yeah.
Could we register that physical makeup as a new template?
That's going to be work on the biocradle, and that's not going to be like one check. That's going to be...
Forgive me if we've already asked this in a previous session. We know what roughly what Armata thinks of the divine. We know what they think of Lillian's condition. Do we know what they think of the demonic side?
I was just
Great
thinking
question.
the same thing.
I can't remember if we've asked that or not.
We've never come. None of us have the right attributes in order for us to be.
Well, have we
triggered.
asked Leviathan though? I can't remember if we have.
Demons have existed ever since humans have, and in fact... Demons have existed ever since and before humans existed on Talam. Both the precursor humans and your kind. The demons gained power in the final days of the war, but only because a great number of acts of evil were committed. They were not primary combatants in the war of worship.
And you wouldn't treat them as an enemy in the same way that you would treat the divine?
My programming does not provide specific targeting protocols for demonic forces. However, part of the mission statement of my being is to protect humanity. And if demons were to present themselves a substantial threat to the ongoing existence of humanity as a whole, I would be forced to act.
So either we can prove the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or the enemy of my enemy is still my enemy.
I also have a self-preservation instinct, and bound as I am to William's form, I would like him not to be torn apart by vampires.
I was more thinking that we know that the technology as a whole is more combative against the divine, so would a biocradle even work with something that is demonic instead?
We could kidnap a guard.
It feels like a waste of a power cell, if I'm honest.
I imagine the guard would be quite happy to be out from under the thrall of them.
But also, how do we know that they're all not linked? Because what you're potentially doing is leading a lot of sired vampires and one very angry, powerful vampire back to our secret hideout.
I need to read something about the hollow spell specifically.
Will isn't doing any research.
Yeah.
He is instead on watch. Like, whilst these three are doing research and stuff, Will is in his disguise, walking around, looking busy, but instead ostensibly just keeping an eye out for anyone who's taking an active interest in the group.
Yeah, for sure. Go for it. Perception.
We're at the library/public records office,
Yeah.
right? Whilst he's doing that, can I look up the state of his house, please?
Ooh.
Yes, you can. Okay, history. Yeah, history. Would you get perception? Okay.
Can
you
I roll the desk? Can I use Destiny to re-roll that?
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use Destiny to re-roll that because I don't want to roll a natural 2,
Okay.
which means a total of
Do you
3.
still have your just? Oh yes,
I regained it because of my god-awful
your-
awesome pun.
Your humanist, yeah.
Natural 20!
Fuck me.
Total
Okay.
21. 2 to 20.
That's a terrible
You-
dating range.
Do not Jesus Christ. You do not see people hanging around specifically watching, you know. You can't help but shake the feeling you're being watched, though.
17.
17. Okay, yeah. This is the imago of places to be to look up what the current state of a defunct estate sale is. Yeah, for sure. 17. Okay. With your specific like proclivities and set of skills, yeah, the paperwork has been done in a very lackluster fashion, very sort of slapdash fashion. Kind of get a hint on the 17. It might be sort of purposely slapdash, like, oh well, we won't bother doing that form because that's just going to ask questions. Like, you know that Will has children. I believe that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
3 of them.
There's no mention of Will's children anywhere in this, and honestly, they would be the legal heirs. This is instead being can we get an insight check as well?
To me, it feels like they're just shaking the tree to see what falls out with this a little bit.
12.
12, okay. The estate is going to actually benefit an individual person. You don't know who that person is, you don't recognise the name.
Just a name to me.
Yeah, it's a very sort of like, it's almost sort of John Smith. But it is actually funding to like a bank account number, and like, you're not sure what the number is, but it is going, like, this is not, this is going into like a slush fund. A person is going to benefit from the sale of this house.
Also, are we at a records office or
You're the records office,
records
yeah.
office? Is his death certificate here?
Fuck me, that's a great question. Okay. Oh, I'm going to have to think on that one. So, you disappeared, for all intents and purposes you are dead, and they would have wanted you to have a death certificate to make a point. Yeah, Will's death certificate is here. A copy of it is here, at least.
A copy, okay.
Yeah, like the public copy for the, yeah.
Can I add a question on to that?
Yes.
What does it say the cause of death is?
Misadventure. That's got leaks on that.
Are we perusing this ourselves, or do we have to go via a clerk to get this information?
For sure, a clerk. Yeah.
This poor clerk and the random items that we've asked her to collect.
I want the lifestyle magazines from 544 to 548. Also, this man's death certificate and the tax record.
Yeah.
Also, 36 Clarendon Road.
Okay.
Any other questions? Like, you are...
Can we... The BioCradle has like an interface and we can look through it and figure stuff out with it, right?
Yeah, for real.
I think it might be worth getting one of these guards and trying to remove the vampiric influence from them.
The biocradle is 15 days away, 20 days away.
And we have it with us.
You have it with you.
Oh, what?
We're doing what?
My understanding was that you
We
had
packed
brought
it
it
up.
with you.
Yeah, we packed it up and took it with us.
If
often
that is not the case, that's a you guys decision, and that's a kind of you guys decide amongst yourselves whether you would have brought it with you.
So for me, it's not that it's an aspect of scale. So have you seen Prometheus?
No.
Okay, so there is a private medical pod that is the size of a person with basically like a coffin for a person. And that's the sort of size of the thing I was imagining.
Yeah,
The biocradle folds down
into a suitcase.
into like a suitcase size, like a bulky suitcase sized thing. And then it folds out into like a...
Which is why there was no reason
hollow
for us not to take it, because it was the
sarcophagus.
most valuable thing.
I assumed it was a slightly
No.
bigger thing.
I'd forgotten that it was portable.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was possible.
So the question is, aside from anything else, would you guys have brought it with you, or would you have decided to leave it?
100%.
I would have advocated to bring the most valuable thing we've ever seen in
Yes.
our lives.
I mean, that's fair. I did need to check.
That's fair. So, can you ask the BioCradle if we can find one of these guards, capture him, whatever, and see if the biocradle can remove the vampiric influence. The lower level guards are basically slaves. They can't think for themselves. If you can remove the biocradle, we're doing this poor soul a favour. And if that's true, and it can do this, we might even be able to offer it directly to the lady, and she might say yes.
My suspicion, knowing the internal mechanisms of the biocradle, is that it would not be able to separate out a parasitic being.
As it is now.
Yes.
Could you make the adjustments to make that happen, though?
If that is where you would like me to direct my efforts, it would be possible in theory, but it may take time that you and I don't have.
Very well.
I exist on a different timescale.
My concern as well is if it views them as parasites, it will attempt to remove the parasite. But if the host is already dead,
You could just kill them.
We have 2 power cells. There are at minimum 8 guards that we've seen. We're not going to solve this by converting.
Oh no, I wouldn't consider that. This was more of try it on one guard, see if it works. If it does,
Still a waste of a crystal.
possibly. If it does work, though, we can try it on the other one. We can try it on the Lady Chambers directly.
Sure.
And that will cut off the rest of them. The thing is that the lower level guards are essentially slaves. They can't think for themselves. You stop whoever their sire is, the rest of them just stop working.
Not technically correct.
No,
They
just become
just-
free.
You just give them free will.
Yeah, they get free will, so who knows what they'll do.
Go on a rampage, slaughtering innocents.
It's not outside the realms of possibility.
It's in there.
Leviathan, how was the teleporter being powered?
Somebody.
Hey!
What have you done?
Nothing
I've just made some general inquiries as to the power source, the type of explosion that would incur if such power source would be destroyed.
Okay.
The power needs would be immense, but there would need to be a local power device.
But when you detected,
Yes.
did you also detect a power generator or a source of power?
I had a very limited opportunity, and I chose to download as much information as I could from my sister's banks.
Presumably, dearie, if the teleporter is active, it's got to be powered by something.
Yeah, but is it a case where it's like Fort Morgan in the sense that they have power crystals that they recharge from a secondary source, or is this
A stable teleportation tunnel would require technology beyond that which your parental figure was able to provide at Fort Morgan.
so is it sat on a
It would be comparable to a Mark IV generator.
what she said, and
I pretend I don't understand any of what that meant. What is that in terms of real?
About what's powering Novem. But it would have to be one on each side.
Right.
So potentially they've got 4. Oh no, sorry, no, each side of the portal.
Yeah.
I thought each side of the building.
Yeah.
2 thingies, yeah.
Are those only powered through solar power?
No, this would be using most likely Viridium control rods.
that one I've not. Have I had? I don't remember that.
It sounds
This is
boomy.
different than the ley line technology that we saw in Prison
Most
4.
certainly.
Is it equivalent to a nuclear reactor in the sense that you? Okay.
So if we were to remove a control rod, we'd remove this island.
Okay.
I'm just going to send the same emojis I sent to Rich to the general group.
Okay. Granny, I am now very much against levelling that building. Fire, unfortunately, is out of the question.
Alright, gee. It sounds
A
like
little mushroom pepper.
either we're sneaking in, or we're bring in a cleric army and we'll see how many clerics we get. Or this vampire hunter turns up and he says, hey, I've got some buddies. They're a bit wild and they wear some red caps, but, you know.
Hoods, not caps.
You would still need to secure the generator first. After the outburst that we saw with the Lady Chambers, what if she sees this coming and goes, fine, F this island, overloads the generator as she steps through the portal?
It's quite likely she knows that we know that it's there.
Yeah.
We accessed it, a user has been generated.
And it's very likely that she may even know that we're aware of her proclivities. But we won't find out most of what we have to bring to bear until tomorrow.
Yeah, basically. You guys gonna head back to Augustine's house to sleep, or are you having a little campfire in the graveyard?
Absolutely not.
Is there
Will is going to say, I can't shake the feeling that we're being watched.
is there a temple nearby somewhere?
Yeah, like in the temple district, yeah.
Like, I imagine there's a god of taverns or bars or hospitality.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
That is basically like an in-stroke temple kind of thing.
Yeah, you're thinking like the, is it Joaquin, kind of, in Forgotten Realms?
He's trained commerce, I believe.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah.
badger.
Or
Do you
maybe,
like highs or lows?
I like
Maybe
highs
highs.
today.
19. Yeah, like, I mean,
Can't shake.
you
Someone's watching us.
for sure will be able to, you'll be able to find somewhere where you can claim the literal divine sanctuary.
Yeah.
You can claim the right of sanctuary from a church. So if that's where you want to sleep tonight, you're more than welcome to sleep there.
That's fine with everyone for tonight, at least. Just as a precaution.
Cool.
And I get the sense that this is a hollowed area when we step in.
Yeah.
across the
We should still have watches.
Yeah. To be honest, the night goes completely unmolested. You wake up in the morning. Yeah. You do get a message through one of the acolytes, actually from Dolan, the gravedigger.
Yeah.
My friend's a bit of. I'm just doing the. I'm just doing the voices. This is a letter. He doesn't have a magic mouth. Just to let you know, my friend's a bit ahead of schedule, so you can actually meet you this morning if you want to head over.
Yeah, that sounds like that's what we're going to do next time.
Cool.
Shall we can't insight check the handwriting?
Don't think
You want a cliffhanger?
Sure. Go on then.
Cool. You heading over to Gentle Aiden's?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you head over to Gentle Aiden's. For reasons I am deeply ashamed I cannot get into this turn, the bartender is an awakened donkey with robot arms which help him serve the drinks. That's beside the point.
Okay. That is a cliffhanger.
As you step into the bar, you can see the little robot arm comes up and doffs the stats on the donkey's head. Howdy. And yeah, there is. You can see at the appointed time and place, sitting at a table, no, sort of not drink or anything. There's a bloke in basically sheriff's gear, like long leather duster, black Stetson, stands up and as you approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course I'm going to do that.
He does not detect as undead.
Is anyone in the room?
No. He is, however, wearing a gold band with a red gem on it.
Which is the same as the.
Oh shit.
You don't have to be
Hat on the
undead
table.
to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
employed by a vampire.
That's true.
I think we have a couple of matters we need to discuss, don't we? Sheriff Josiah Kincaid.
Wait a minute.
What is that your name?
That's Sheriff Josiah Kincaid. Didn't we hear that's the guy who's been stringing up firebirds?
Shit.
Well, we're not. birds, right?
No, but you have been working for one. That little trinket y'all bought to Harlan. I've been looking for that for a while. And you're gonna help me get it back.
And that's what we'll pick up next time.
Yeah, that's fair. By looking, do you mean getting very angry and beheading a whole bunch of people? Asking for a friend.
I would like to point out at least this guy can at least fuck some shit up.
I did suggest bringing him in.
I laughed so much when you put that on there.
You do need to hit the